itself, from building collapse to authorized demolition, boundary disputes, and even encroachment by real estate developers. The good news is that you can avoid these property issues and harness opportunities in the housing sector with the right information. Join us as we discuss everything real estate and the construction industry on the program Property Talk. Airing live every Monday at 12:30 p.m. on Armed Forces Radio 107.7 FM, Abuja. Property Talk is proudly brought to you by WORIN Nigeria. Don't miss it.
Hello, Abuja. It's a very beautiful afternoon here in the capital city, and we're broadcasting live from Armed Forces Radio 107.7 Abuja. Well, you're welcome to the show Property Talk, proudly brought to you by WORIN Nigeria. Property Talk is that show on radio that keeps you informed on the happenings, and trends in the real estate industry, especially in the capital city, and so you'll be able to make better investment decisions. Well, just to feed you in, if you're just joining us for the first time, WORIN Nigeria is that platform that connects workers in the construction industries to clients that need their services. WORIN Nigeria is a property management company also, right? And we're here to just get you informed on, happenings around the industry. And it's a very beautiful Monday. We are here every Monday, 12:30 p.m. on your darling station, Armed Forces Radio 107.7. Every week we come with an exciting episode. We come with a guest. Usually we choose the best of the best, in the industry to just come feed you on information. And today we are doing the same. We have one of those that are making wave in the industry, one of those that are developers that have decided to, explore opportunities outside of Abuja, outside of the major cities in Nigeria, right? And I think this will lead me to talk about the topic for today, which is exploring real estate investment beyond Abuja or other major cities in Nigeria. Well, I'm talking about none other person than engineer Oladeji Victor Bamidele. He's the chairman and CEO of Pumpkin Holding. Pumpkin Holding is the company where you have Pumpkin Property as a subsidiary. So Pumpkin Property in Kaduna. Not forgetting you, I would like to say a very welcome to you. We see your comments, we see your engagement, right? And today is not an exception. We're still going to relate on that level. Well, before I feed Engineer Deji in, before I get him in to say a few things, I'd like us to listen to this sing tune one more time, and we'll be right back.
It's not yours. Look at my documents here to prove that it is mine. This land is not your own, no. Oga, you better go and look for your own land. See my own document here. I don't pay for this land, did it? Now my name did the documents like this. Look at my documents.
But this land has always been my own land. I've known this land. I've had this land for a while now. It is mine.
Land dispute is as old as civilization itself. From building collapse to authorized demolition, boundary disputes, and even encroachment by real estate developers. The good news is that you can avoid these property issues and harness opportunities in the housing sector with the right information. Join us as we discuss everything real estate and the construction industry on the program Property Talk. Airing live every Monday at 12:30 p.m. on Armed Forces Radio 107.7 FM, Abuja. Property Talk is proudly brought to you by WORIN Nigeria. Don't miss it.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the show Property Talk, proudly brought to you by WORIN Nigeria. And today we are talking about exploring real estate investments beyond Abuja and other major cities in Nigeria. Like I told you earlier, we have in the building Engineer Deji Bamidele, the chairman and CEO of Pumpkin Holdings. Good to have you again, sir, in the studio.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
for
sir.
having me.
Yes, sir. So straight into the business of the day, I want us to take first things first, sir. I'd like you to just quickly introduce yourself and then just feed us on what inspired your journey in real estate.
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Oladeji Victor Bamidele, Chairman Pumpkin Holdings. I read civil engineering, and then I also have passion for media as well. So I studied 3D animation in South Africa. I'm always intrigued by buildings and how to make spaces better and building thriving communities, basically. So I've always had interest in real estate and developing communities and making them thriving communities. Yeah, so that's the whole idea of going into real estate. The fact that you can get a space, there is a bare land, a plain land, and then you can design it on paper and then bring that space to life. And then it's now a community in the nearest future. So for me, that's always intriguing. And that's one of the things that led me into real estate. Added to the fact that also it becomes a very viable investment for people as well. I mean, you've seen spaces. I heard somebody bought a piece of land when it was forest in Mitama for 19,000 naira.
Wow.
And then today it's going for about 500 million.
Wow.
That is quite interesting.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that these spaces keep improving and they keep adding value to our finances, just quite interesting.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's a rich profile there, sir. That's a very, very rich profile there, sir. Right. So, looking at the conversation for today, you know, a lot of people feel real estate in Abuja, in a place like Lagos, like talk about WORIN, talk about Port Harcourt. You know, many people feel it has more returns, like it's more profitable, right? But you have had experiences working in majorly that I know Kaduna. I want to ask, you know, maybe you feed us on your experience working in, you know, in some of these cities outside of these major cities.
Yeah, thank you. You need to go into a whole lot of these communities, and then you will find out that real estate is actually doing well in every part of Nigeria, like every single part. I'm sure even in Maiduguri, where there are crises, real estate is doing well as well. Yeah. And the reason is basically simple. If you look at rapid urbanization, that is affecting the value of real estate. I mean, I would like to drop some data here. It's said that in the next couple of years, by 2050, actually, our population would have gone up to about 450 million. That is alarming. Yeah. The truth is that where will these people stay? They will need to do some commercial activities. Yeah. And by that time, it is said that we will be the third most populous country in the world. That is amazing, really. What that means is that we are going to be expanding, and then people will need to move into these spaces. So for us in Nigeria, it's not just the urban or the cities that will do well. Every part of Nigeria will require people to move into those spaces. Don't forget, land is a scarce commodity. It means that we are not creating more. God is not creating more. We've been given our space. Yeah. We can only expand into the space. That's why a man like Elon Musk is thinking of going to Mars, because no more land to be created, basically. So it means that in the communities, in the rural areas, in every state in Nigeria, real estate is really going to do well. I remember in Kaduna, when we were growing up, the center of town used to be around Kano Road, Jos Road, and all of that. But today it has moved. Same as Abuja as well. So the center of any particular town today in the next 10 years is going to definitely shift, no matter where that state is, no matter where that community is. So the truth is that there's a high demand for real estate everywhere, high demand for property every single way in Nigeria. So I mean, people shouldn't look at the urban areas alone. People should look at the various communities and the various states outside the urban areas.
Thank you so much, sir. So a follow-up question. Yeah, we have this morning. I had someone call from the UK saying, I'm interested in this. I really would like to listen, especially knowing the fact that you are going to be present speaking.
Great.
Right. So we have a lot of people that are feeling, okay, maybe these major cities are expensive, right? To get started in investment in real estate. What would you say to those kind of people that are looking to come into, real estate investment and are feeling, okay, the major cities are quite expensive, but they really want to have a part of Nigeria, not specifying which city?
Yeah, like I said, one of the factors driving the cost or the demand for real estate is urbanization. Another thing driving that value and demand up is also infrastructure. If you look at places like the US and the UK, a lot of people do not actually stay in the middle town or in the where you call downtown. New York, for instance, a lot of people don't stay in New York. People stay outside New York, Brooklyn, New Jersey, and all those places. Once governments begins to connect some of these communities with proper infrastructure, you will find out that the value of the real estate in those areas will go up. For instance, we have Jos. we have Kaduna, we have Nasarawa. These are places that are quite close to Abuja. I envisage that one day there will be fast-speed trains that will connect some of these cities. And once that happens, it means that people can live in these outskirts communities and then come into town and work and go back on a daily basis. So basically, you find a situation where the value and the demand for real estate in those regions, shooting up drastically. And then what those regions present you is actually low barrier entry level in terms of your cost. So for instance, you probably get a plot of land here in Abuja, I don't know, maybe 20, 25, 50 million. Yeah. But in those places, you probably still get an entry level of about 2 million, 3 million, 4 million. So the truth is that people should not just look at real estate in the urban areas and in major cities like Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt, but should also consider outskirts, Lagos is a very good case in point. A lot of people don't even understand the fact that most of the industries in Lagos are not sited in Lagos. They are outside Lagos, Ogun State. When you hear of Ishere, Igbara, all those places, most of the industries are there. And then that has increased the demand and the cost of real estate because the center is actually choked up. So people are moving outskirts. People are siting large industries outskirts. A lot of the industries servicing Abuja, a lot of them are not even in Abuja. They are outskirts of Abuja. In Jos, in Kaduna, we have Olams there in Kaduna and all these industries there. And that will drive the demand for it because the workers and the people who are servicing those industries will probably need to stay around that organization or that company. And then that will drive the cost of real estate in those places.
Thank you so much, sir. Well, listeners, like our culture here is that we allow you the opportunity to be part of the show. So today you can call in on the show to ask Engineer DG questions directly, or you can make your comments, your contributions to the show. And the number you can call to be part of the show is 081 30 60 8527. I'll call that again. 081 30 60 8527. Let me take it one more time. 081 30 60 8527. So just another follow-up question to that question that you just answered now. So I think we have somebody already calling. Yeah, so maybe we'll just listen to this person, then we... Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. My name is Mr. Alexander Sunday.
All right, where are you calling us from?
Okay, I'm calling from Cairo.
From Cairo.
In Abuja.
Okay. Please, let's get your question or contribution.
Okay, I just have one question. Because I heard from our guest, and I think I'm impressed, because I'm a realtor myself. So I think what I've said about him talking about the outskirts of Abuja and all that. So what are the things that can encourage some of our prospective clients that can encourage them to look at the outskirts of Abuja, or maybe like maybe Kaduna, Nasarawa, which is the closest place and all that. So what are the things that you think that can be a prospect, that can be an encouragement to some of our prospective clients to get places around there?
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. You answered to that question. Thank you for calling. All right, sir, I don't know if you get him.
Yes, I got the question correctly. I'm happy you're calling from Karu.
Yeah.
Karu has good proximity to Abuja. So number one, I think the ROIs for those areas is also very good for those communities. For instance, like I said, the cost of entry is quite low. What we need to do to attract more clients is to, educate them. And forums like this, where we really, educate the public about the value and all the opportunities embedded in some of those communities and some of those outskirts areas. So we need to do a lot more as far as education is concerned. And number two, we need to leverage on technology. If I can access with technology some of these community lands and some of these outskirts land without having to leave my locality, that will attract more people and more investors into going to those areas. Number three, I would say, we need to emphasize to a lot of people in the cities here, in the major cities here, about the ease of doing business in some of these community areas. For instance, a place like Niger State, I'm sure it's going to be far more cheaper and easier to obtain C of O documents, R of O documents compared to a place like Abuja,
Yes.
where the premium or the ground rent is a little bit high. You know, in Abuja, any community you go to, they will say, they planted economic trees, you have to pay per tree and all of that. You may not have those kind of hurdles and
Yes.
hurdles in some of these communities. So we need to educate more of the people in the cities about some of the opportunities embedded in the outskirts areas of the major cities.
So if you're a realtor in Kaduna, in Mina, in Nasarawa, some of these other cities, this is actually a pitch. This is a complete pitch deck here, saying, okay, this is the reason why your clients should invest in some of this. Thank you so much, sir, for some of these revelations that you are giving to us. I would like to ask, yes, what is the economic, implication, of investing in these states? I just want it to be out there for people to know. What's the economic implications of investing in these other cities on the city itself?
What do you mean now? You mean the
economic, implication? Like, what is the advantage, right, to the city? Because we have listeners from outside of Abuja. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Fantastic. For instance, we have a project going on in Kaduna, and then when we started that project, we had to, on our own, create infrastructure. So when you have projects in some of these areas and some of the communities, many times the developer will also be part of, putting up some basic infrastructure. Even if you are just clearing the access road to that place, you're already developing the place in a way. And once you put up a gatehouse and you do a prototype and then you start building gradually, you encourage other people who own lands in those areas to also come in there and then begin to develop as well. So it's always an immense, value added to the state, to the community, every time you have developers going to a particular region and then they begin to develop it. A good case in point, permit me to cite the instances of some churches. You have the Redeemed Christian Church of God, I don't know, kilometer 41 or 42 around Ibadan, Lagos Expressway. When they went into those regions, it was practically forest. But they went in there as developers and began to do activities. Today, you have people living in those regions and going to work in Lagos. Basically, just broad development in those regions. So we want to encourage a lot of developers to look outskirts of the city and go in there and just begin development, even if it's to create access road and all of that, and begin to build from there.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Let me read out this question that just came in now.
Okay.
Someone said, for someone looking to diversify their real estate portfolio beyond Abuja, what are the first steps they should take?
So number one thing is you need to have knowledge of where you want to site whatever project or investment. You need to have knowledge of those regions. I would say look at the outskirts, places that have good proximity to the city. You need to consider those areas. Niger State, Kaduna State, Plateau, all these places, you need to look at those areas. So there are major cities like Lagos as well. You need to consider places like Ibadan, Abuja, Ogun State, Ondo State, all those places with good proximity to the major cities. So you need to have knowledge of those regions, because the truth is that some of these urban areas are quite small. Abuja is quite small. Lagos is even smaller. And then, there will always be spillover to the neighboring states. So people need to consider a whole lot of these neighboring states and look at them critically. Nasarawa is a fantastic example. I know someday in future, there will probably be no difference between Nasarawa State and Abuja. It's already happened already. Yes. A lot of people think Maraba is Abuja, but it's not.
Yes.
It's actually not, because the two states have been merged. The FCT has been merged from those touch points together. So I think you should consider a whole lot of these places that have good proximity to the urban areas.
So another questions are just coming in for you today, sir.
Okay.
Another question is, how can investors manage issues like land disputes, poor documentation, or slower appreciation in these other areas?
Good. It's a big challenge. It's a big challenge everywhere, not just in the urban areas, in these communities as well. But the beautiful thing about the other regions, or the regions outside the urban area, is that everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
So you can easily, walk up to a director, director of lands, seek audience with whoever you need to seek audience with, and then resolve matters. But I will always encourage whatever you do, please do with a legal representative. So somebody can write in officially and then make an inquiry on any plot of land or any piece of property you're acquiring, and then the response becomes part of your documentation process in case there are disputes in future. But Nigeria is such a place that even when everything is right, you still need to check. You still need to tread carefully.
Yes.
So, and then like every investment, real estate has elements of risks as well, So, but what I'm saying is that it's less cumbersome, I believe, in some of these places that have proximity to the urban region, if you ask me.
So somebody is asking, Steve, you just talked about the challenges and risks. So somebody is asking, what are that? Can you point out some risks that come with investing outside the major urban centers?
Okay, so lack of knowledge of the Land Use Act. A whole lot of these communities don't understand that these lands, quote unquote, belong to the government by the Land Use Act. So a whole lot of these communities will still sit on their property. In places like Lagos, you still have issues of omonile. So unless things go to the State House of Assembly and then it's well defined and redefined, and then it's put out there and the people are, synthesize, or talk to about some of this, about the laws. A lot of people still don't understand the fact that they need to, understand the Land Use Act. So I would say, I would say that we should, as a matter of fact, keep educating our communities.
Yeah.
The communities should be carried along as far as these land distributions are concerned. So it's a challenge. But with education in Lagos, they've done quite well by educating the community people about the land. And then compensation has to be made. In Kaduna State, for instance, every land taken from the community, there's something they do for them, which is called 30% return. So that has been said, that has been agreed upon, and then every community knows that they have to get compensation if their land is being reallocated. So these are some of the little challenges, but they are not insurmountable.
Yeah.
They are things that we can easily overcome with state policies and all of that, and education.
So this is our question, in-house question.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you share any success story, or case studies of profitable investments in those smaller cities?
So many, so many. Yeah. So, for instance, we had lots of political instability in some regions, in Kaduna and all of that, and then the value of real estate, of course, crashed because of the political instability or insecurity. But of course, there's nothing on this side that lasts forever. If there's a political crisis somewhere or insecurity somewhere, it may die down in nearest future. And once that happens, that will always drive up the cost and demand of real estate back in those regions. So in Kaduna, we've had things like that where properties were bought in regions where there was insecurity, and then immediately that died down, business returned back to normal. The thing practically 10x, in terms of return on investment.
Wow.
Now, you will not get that happening in the bank. And then we have a region in Kaduna State called Millennium City, where it was practically forest. And then one day government woke up and said they wanted to move infrastructure to those places. And then they started. And then the prices of property practically almost doubled, more than doubled. So these are some of success stories. We have a place like Kogi State as well, where we used to have Lokogoma Phase 2. It was practically forest. And then today is now the heart of town. That even didn't 10x, that like 100x from the time. And these are not places in Abuja. I can go on and on in Lagos, Ogun State, in Nasarawa, everywhere. Practically, properties are doing well because government is moving more infrastructure to those regions, and those places are beginning to pick up in terms of stability.
Okay, so this question is for my age group, young people like me, right, in Nigeria, young professionals that are looking at, okay, I need to diversify my investment. I need to maybe own a piece of the earth, right? What advice will you give to a young professional that is thinking, okay, I need to go into this, but I feel that there are so much problem, so much issues when it comes to, because it said in Abuja that about 65% of the cases in court are land related, right? So what would you say to that kind of person?
Yeah, every young person must understand that the return on investment on land at the long run is better than putting your money in the bank. And then one thing we must all do is to always diversify our investments.
Yeah.
I say that to people: do some savings, do some treasury bills, do some stock, but consider real estate as a major investment. Like we say, real estate is the only investment that is real, because it's called real estate, because it's on ground. Nobody can steal it. Nobody, even if you bond the land, you can't take the land away. You know, to always still appreciate in value. So for a lot of young people, they have to consider, especially if you are looking at long term, because a young man today is going to be old tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you know, there's something we say that a wise man or a righteous man keeps investment, or keeps inheritance for his children's children, you know. So if you are looking at investments for the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, then you should be considering real estate. Because don't forget that if you keep your money in the bank, the value today may not be the value tomorrow, you know, inflation and all of that. So what 1,000 naira can buy today, a million naira can buy today, in the next 10 years, you know, you may not be able to get it. But if you put that money in real estate, the truth is that when you sell, you may still be able to afford the items you need to afford at that material time. So it's the best way to preserve capital gains, to preserve your money, to preserve your investments, you know, if you're looking at the future for young people.
All right. So somebody is asking here, looking at the entire industry, the real estate landscape, right? That if you can mention a few parts of the chain that one can plug in, right? Instead of saying, okay, as against the, okay, buy, develop, sell, or buy the land, sell later, you know. Is there any other part of the chain that people can plug into?
Okay, let me just do a quotation here, you know, about real estate investment. So real estate investment refers to acquisition, ownership, management, you know, leasing or sale of property for profit.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not just residential. I know when we talk about real estate, a lot of people think about residential. And then it's good to understand the categories of real estate, which is residential real estate, commercial real estate, industrial real estate, and specialty real estate. You know, these are some areas people can plug into. For instance, the industrial real estate has to do with warehouses, logistics centers, and all of that. People can plug into that as well. People can go into leasing. People can go into even agro, you know, agriculture. That's also part of real estate, you know. Lands can be leased. So there's quite a lot that can happen. Some communities will never sell their land, or they won't sell their land. I mean, you can go in there and lease, you know, and do have a sub-lease. There are several things we can do as far as real estate is concerned, not just buying and selling. You know, there's rentals, there's leasing, and a whole lot of things that can happen. You know, just get a lawyer involved and get somebody to tidy up the agreements, and then you're already in real estate as well. There's even hospitality as well.
Yeah.
You know, because don't forget, it's not just houses people need. People need to go to school. People need to even go to worship centers,
Sports centers,
recreation, and all of that. So people need to warehouse their items, their goods. So all of this is tied to real estate at the end of the day.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's important to say at this point still that if you are just joining us, this conversation still continues off air. We are fast. Our time is fast spent. This conversation still continue off the station. We're live on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, and of course we have a very heavy presence still on LinkedIn, where we share tips on how you can diversify your investment, how you can, you know, protect your investment. And one way we know better is real estate, right? So you can follow on these platforms, and then you'll still be informed. And still, I like to put to us that there's a maybe you want to talk to us after the show. There's a WhatsApp contact. You can reach us via WhatsApp. Discover is actually closer to communicate on that platform. So you can reach us on 090 7748 1210. I will take that one more time. 090 7748 1210. So let me still ask this question. And I need you to do more like a prophetic engagement now. How do you see real estate in Nigeria in 15 years?
Like we always see, a forest today is definitely going to be a city tomorrow. So just look around you, any forest around you, anywhere you call bush around you, it's going to be a city tomorrow. And then it's good to also understand that the center of every town will keep moving, will keep shifting. The Abuja central area that we call it today will not be the central area in the next 10, 15 years. It's going to definitely shift. So where is it going to shift to? Where are the places that is going to be occupied? Like I said, in the next couple of years, Nigeria will be the third most populous country in the world. What that means is that where you call that bush, that forest, people will occupy it tomorrow. So just go into the forest and begin to make your acquisition and begin to buy and purchase, because it's definitely going to, real estate is going to do very well in Nigeria, better than the UK, better than the US, better than any major city that you know today. Why? Because our population is going to increase. I also believe Nigeria will prosper as a country. I believe that a time will come where we're going to have political stability. You know, this time of crisis, I believe it's going to be over, and then people can begin to enjoy the gains of real estate.
So this is the point where I'm supposed to ask you for your final words, but there's one request we want to make on the show. I don't know if your cameras are ready. Yeah, so you're just going to help us do something on the show, you know, and this is very simple.
Okay.
Is that, hi, my name is your name, and you are watching Property Talk with WORIN Nigeria. That's all we need, sir.
Okay.
Are we good? All right.
Hello, my name is Oladeji Victor Bamidele. This is Property Talk by WORIN Nigeria. Please keep tuning in, keep listening in. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. So this is where I asked you for your final words on the show before we call it a close today.
Yes, everybody needs to jump in on this trend and just get into real estate to preserve their wealth. If you're looking at preserving wealth for tomorrow, then you should actually jump into real estate, irrespective of your age, irrespective of your even your worth. You should jump into real estate, because if you say you can't afford Abuja, then you can afford somewhere outside Abuja. Yeah. Even in those cities outside Abuja, you can go into the interior. It will shock you to know there are places around outside Abuja that you can still get a plot of land for 200, 300,000. Yes. You know, so everybody, your size is your size of wealth or your size of affordability is available. Irrespective of whatever you have, you can get into real estate, irrespective of your age, irrespective of your wealth, irrespective of your resources, and just do it gradually and begin to build that portfolio. So this will be my parting words for every single person. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for this time. I know our listeners got value today. In fact, in the studio, I'm already thinking, can we just leave this place already? Let's begin to look at some of these cities, because we've made some major revelations here, right, that could help one, you know, get into the real estate space. Well, I hope you got value today like I got. It's needful to say still that conversation continues out, after the show. And we'll be here next week, Monday, you know, with another interesting episode that you would not want to miss. But until next time, my name still remains Strength Douglas, and this is Property Talk by WORIN Nigeria. Have a very good afternoon.
That it is mine. This land is not your own, no. Oga, you better go and look for your own land. See my own document here. I don't pay for this land, did they? Now my name did the documents like this. Look at my documents.
But this land has always been my own land. I've known this land. I've had this land for a while now. It is mine.